looking at preps on some turns. So that's a handshake hold with an inside turn. We can do a sugar push and take the hand off, get us to a reverse hand hold, and we can set free spin nicely from there. If I just pick up that same hand, we can keep using it for a few different moves, like a wrap. Pretty cool option, and then we've got another move here we call a fake wrap or a frappe. Just kind of put our angle on it. So in that situation, followers, don't turn back on your own. The leader's going to make it feel like a wrap and then let go at the last minute. Alright, so there's one or two other moves that we can do here. These are sometimes maybe called the fold move. So the hand's going to go back, down and underneath. I can also do that at the shoulder. So I'm going to take the hand up, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. And whilst we're on that shoulder, let's go back to this reverse hand hold, and we can take the hand higher in this case as well. Be careful not to let the followers feel too much rotation with that. Alright, I think that's all the variations. Let's show you how to break that down. Alright guys, so breaking down those moves, those turning patterns. So before we get started with the moves themselves, we've got to talk a little bit about how we impart rotation. So as a leader, I'm going to kind of drive my circle, and hopefully my follower is going to feel an opposite rotation, which kind of gets her frame or her circle working in opposition to me. We can take this all the way around just for practice, and even when we're behind each other, we can mess around with changing the directions. All right, so ultimately in West Coast swing, you find this is pretty standard practice. You know, a lot of teachers start with that, but we've kind of gone through that, that mill, and we realized that it's actually a lot easier to teach people how to do the preps and the inside turns when working from a handshake hold or the reverse hand hold. Okay, so we're going to start off with those, focus on those, and then through that practice, you can actually reverse engineer how to do your original hand hold. Okay, so we've got this handshake hold, and you should see that as I rotate my shoulder forward, it rotates Fab's free shoulder back, and then in turn, as I move back, it's going to bring Fab's shoulder forward. Okay, so that's the relationship we're trying to, ensure is in play when we're moving. So count 1, I'm going to move down the slot for a left side pass, and because that's Fab's free side, it's naturally going to get left behind a little bit. As we recover into the second step, notice leaders, I do try to just progress a little bit, and then Fab.
Followers, count 1 to 2 is quite important here. So I take my count 1 as normal, but on count 2, you want to see I have a collection. So I allow my ankles to pass, and then I'm pivoting through that right foot as I extend the left toe forward, and I'm rotating that right side back. Another little tip is keep your head line of dance. So my head stays on the slot, and I'm rotating in my shoulders, my hips, and my feet. So
the
1,
leaders trigger the rotation, and that
2.
drives the rotation down through your body into your feet, but you've got to carry the frame to get that down to your feet. And from here, leaders, bring the followers forward. Don't worry about turning them. Let them move forward, and as they release their weight into their triple steps, the turn will happen. We don't have to spin the followers around. We need to prepare them and then release them. So here's our 1, and we're going to prepare our followers on the 2, and then bring them forward and past their own foot, 3 and a 4, 5 and a 6. Now followers in West Coast swing, you should ensure that you're traveling through your spins. If you're a salsa dancer or a modern jive dancer, you may be more familiar with turning on the spot, but if you're turning on the spot in West Coast swing, you should be on 1 foot, pretty much. Okay, so once again, we've got our first version of this move, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so from here we do a little sugar push with a hand drape. We find that's a nice little transition to get us to our reverse hand hold. Okay, and then from here, working with a free spin to begin, we're going to use that opposite rotation once again through our 1 to our 2 leaders again, staying out and ahead of the followers so we can maintain the connection. And then 3 and a 4, the followers spin past us, 5 and 6. You might like to go back to the original hand hold for whatever you would like to do next.
Followers, I want to mention here, with different handhold, but I want you to know it's the same position. So on count 1, as I step forward, you might see a little bit more rotation, but it's the same position if we had regular handhold. You know, handshake, sorry, before. Yeah. It's the same position here, and then the collection and extension through that left foot, head's facing the direction I want to go, and then we continue by.
Leaders, just note that I haven't really worried about closing my feet. Sometimes if I close my feet, I'm slack.
Inside.
Connection slack. So I'm going to take a small step back and away from my follower to maintain the same connection. Then I'm going to hold my spot as the follower moves to me on the triple step. I might even cut back slightly if I need to, through my 4, into my 5 and 6. Depends on the rate of your follower. Okay, cool. So moving out into a few other moves, we did do this free spin on one occasion, and you see that I actually pick up the same hand. So I'm just going to keep my hand trailing across so I can pick that up. That's a slick little variation on your free spin. If I do keep this hand and wrap Fab across her waist, we would encourage you to kind of create a little bit of a V shape. So if we just slipped into here, that's promenade position. Okay, and then we're back into our wrap. Blue, 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 blue. And then again, leaders just try to move forward and let the followers release their own energy instead of trying to wrap or unwrap them. Okay, so when we do that, that can create some acceleration. We're not looking for acceleration just yet. 5 and 6.
Followers your free arm over the top.
Absolutely,
okay,
yeah,
so
keeping it on top.
Don't move it. Where you start, that's where it stays,
Have
hopefully.
a bit of flexion,
so 1,
maybe, but
2,
doesn't move hardly at all.
If I keep it in the same position, it'll always work out. Yeah?
Okay, whilst we're here, we're going to go a little bit higher now. So in this case, the leader's hand needs to be very clearly higher so the followers know that, okay, I don't take my hand on top of this one, because now I might wrap myself over. So there's the wrap at the waist. 2 is quite low relative to your follower. And then my 2, in this case, is going to start coming up so the followers can sense, oh, that's slightly different.
And followers, again, if I keep that free arm still, I'm never going to be in trouble. But if I try to guess which one my leader's going to do, then there's a chance it's going to get messy and then it's my fault. So keep your frame true. We say kind of at the same level as the connected hand.
All right, cool. So let's switch over to the other hand now. When we were dancing, I think we did a free spin that brought us back to here. And that gives us the opportunity to work on maybe some of the fold moves that we said that we're going to reverse engineer from the first part of this lesson using the handshake and the reverse hold. Now we've got to try and impart that within our regular hand hold. 1, 2. Yeah, I'm still trying to travel ahead of my partner slightly, even if it's just with the heel of my right foot. That maintains the connection. When we do this fold down low, there's a bit of a hammer lock involved. So it's very important that we understand how our bodies are, designed to move. So basically practice passing your hands close by your waist and then up to the lower back, and then again passing them down by your waist before you bring them out in front of you. So if you can do that on your own, then you can facilitate that in a follower. What we want to avoid from both the leaders and the followers is when we go around the outside, that's going to flip our elbows and our shoulders out and kind of put us in a bit of a vulnerable position. So sometimes the followers can be guilty of that. So, we've both got to take care of ourselves, making sure that we bring the hand down before it comes up. Again, you'll see Fab's got that right shoulder forward, so we've perpetuated the energy, so we might like to continue it in lots of different ways.
Followers, I want to briefly again mention your free arm, funny enough.
1,
so on count 4,
2,
it's going to be a little hard to see it, but I'm going to ask if we can turn around to you a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I want you to see that my arm is on top. Okay, what some followers do is they actually place their elbow on the leader's arm.
That restricts you a
Exactly.
little bit.
So I want that arm, again, just slightly above, so now I can rotate back
and notice Fab's not trying to extend it. They don't have time to do any of that. No. So it's just back here, elbow enough, like we always talk about drawing a bow. So imagine you've just drawn the string of a bow, and then you're going to release that energy then into your anchor step. Okay, let's show you from this angle. So we've got a 1, 2. I'm usually staying ahead of my partner, and then just, asking them to move forward into their anchor step. Cool. We're going to do the same thing now, but bringing it up at the shoulder level. So 3 and a 4, 5 and a 6. You might find the hands upside down. That's not too much of a problem. We can use that for the shoulder one. You'll find that when that hand's upside down, you can't do the fold at the waist though. Well, go ahead, try it once and see how awful it feels, because you're going to have to turn your hand inside, and then my hand's in the wrong shape. Not a comfortable move, but I guess you've got to explore and feel what's uncomfortable for yourself. There's actually another version of that we are not the biggest fans of, which is when you prep and fold from here and you invite the follower to rotate your hand inside your hand. That's just not the best use of your connection, your partnership. To do the wrap at the waist from a handshake hold, we like to do it from here, which is upside down handshake hold. Now that wrap at the waist now is going to feel golden. That feels awesome. Okay, but just that small change, now that doesn't feel awesome. This should, all right?